Beautiful. So it's Palm Sunday. So in a traditional Christian calendar, we have a whole week starting from Palm Sunday and ending on Easter. That's just laden with stories and symbology and ritual and actually, you know, from the time I was wee little, it was probably my favorite week of the year. That's because we start off with this celebration, right? And we end with celebration. And in the middle, we have all of this kind of darkness. And we remember things like taking care of each other and the story of the Last Supper and Jesus washing the feet of everyone around him. And we remember that community can come together to change and affect differences and wonderful things. And we remember also to be in the silence of that. So traditionally we get to, you know, on Friday, everything goes quiet, right? It used to be not that long ago, because I can remember the store shutting down from noon to 3 on Good Friday. Almost the whole place and the whole community is shut down. It was a recognition of that quiet and that stillness. And that's a little bit where I want to get to today, because in that stillness is the peace that we all need to even get to the celebration. So we recognize there is a celebration, right? And we have all this week to try to get there, and this remembering and the stories. And it all takes place getting into Jerusalem. So Palm Sunday is the day the story says Jesus came into Jerusalem. We're going to take care of celebrating Passover, so we need to get there. And people knew he was coming. And Jerusalem, even today, is considered that dwelling place of God. And Charles Fillmore says, Jerusalem is the dwelling place in the consciousness of peace and wholeness. It is that center place. So that's our symbology. How do we get to that center place, that place of peace and wholeness? How do we honor ourselves in that? And as silly as it may sound, maybe Dr. Seuss said it best. Says, you have brains in your head and you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the one who decide where to go. We get to decide to take that trip or not to that place of wholeness. And we have the power to do that and be that and do that. So the truth of who we are is that peace and oneness. But, you know, are we going to get there? And I love that Jesus starts that journey through celebration, because how many of us don't think to recognize any kind of spiritual power or divine intervention until we feel like our back's against the wall? You know, and here's a point of celebration, and we're going to get there. We can get there either way, and it's a choice. You know, we all struggle with that truth of who we are and what's right or wrong for us. And yet we all have that inner knowing. If I go back to that point of that trouble on our back against the wall, you know, as soon as we express we're not feeling well, or somebody has a diagnosis of anything, right? There's all kinds of people that know exactly what to do for that designation, that diagnosis. Dr. Stephen Levine said in one of his lectures, his interviews, that when people would pass, he would be gifted their libraries. So he had book upon book upon book of how to cure anything. And he used cancer as an example. He says, I got several shelves of books that says this is the way to cure cancer. And they were all given to him by people that had passed. And he's like, what are we doing to each other? It's the ultimate. And yet the realization in that crazy story was that in that book was written because it worked for one person, right? It wouldn't be on his shelf if somebody hadn't said, well, this is what worked for me, so this is what I'm going to tell everybody they have to do. And he had shelves of what worked for one person, right, that they were telling. And yet, where's the book? And here it is. What tells you to do what you know is right for you and to find your own path there. You know, what if it's a combination of moves and not just what this book says or that book says? And we don't know what that combination is unless we're ready to walk the path, both in joy and in, you know, times when our back's against the wall. It's that holistic approach. And sometimes, you know, we write holistic now with just the H, right? But what if we remember it's the W of whole, the everything, you know, our physical life and our spiritual life. Jesus, much like, you know, the Dalai Lama or Thich Nhat Hanh or Dr. Martin Luther King, they teach this message of equanimity, of peace, of mutual respect, of caring for one another. And each of them in this spiritual message, we're stirring the pot, right? There's conventions around, there's institutions, there's traditions that say, you know, if we really do that, then this person's feathers are going to get ruffled. Whether it's a sociological one, a political one, a religious one, hierarchical structures, you know, all of that. And yet each of them said, you know, we're going to say it anyway. We're going to do it anyway. And we're going to do it with a smile on our face, right? So we have that proverbial pot within each of us, right? And we stir that all the time. And sometimes, though, I think we're in the part where all the muck is about. So if you're in the middle of a tornado, right, all the stuff around is flying and there's debris and there's whatever, but in the middle, it's quiet and you can see it all. You can see it all. So in that calm spot, that's where we actually get to see what's making up the storm. You know, what is in there that we can, you know, not pay attention to anymore? What can we fling out of the storm? And that storm was happening all around Jesus during the story of Palm Sunday. And he decides to go to the center anyway. Go to that center place, that quiet place, that holy place for God on earth, that temple in Jerusalem, which, you know, is inside each of us. Because not only are we told that that is where God dwells on earth, we are told that we, each of us, are the holy place of God on earth. We are the temple. We are the living temple. So, you know, we have this celebration and all these people are happy. We're going to go to the center. We're going to go to that place of God and everything's going to be wonderful. And on the other side, you know, there's people going, I don't think so. Menace, awfulness, you know, name calling, conspiracy theories, you name it is happening. And how many of us have kind of been in the same place? My husband used to always tell me when I get in these places where I'm like, I just don't get it. Why aren't people understanding? He's like, because he called it the old proverbial, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. He's like, you're paving your good intentions because what was happening was in other people, you know, seeing those good intentions, it rubbed up against them for whatever reason, the wrong way. And then you can see that and feel that. But are you going to succumb to that or stay on your road and keep paving the good intentions? So it's a reminder today. Palm Sunday is a reminder that we do have that ability to choose. We can honor the commitment to something beyond our human nature, seizing moments of passion that'll take us to that center, right? And it's passion much more than desire. It's like, do we really feel it? Not, are we thinking we have to do it? There's a movie called Interstellar, and it's got Matthew McConaughey is in it. And in that, his character is sent off to try to find these others, the theys, that are communicating to Earth in a way that we don't recognize as full communication because they're using gravity. So they're trying to find the they that's helping them and follow the they to what they need to do in order to save everybody on the planet. And towards the end of the movie, there's a spot where he has to decide how to save his companion. And to do that, he chooses to go into this black hole, which is another, vortex of craziness all around and a nothing in the middle. And as he enters that nothing, the they are able to help him understand and tap into everything that he is and recognize his past, present, and future all in the same place. So as he's in this place, he's able to look at past mistakes. He's able to try to communicate with pieces of himself and people around him from memories, and also use what he learned from looking at those memories in real time to create a difference for people in the future. This idea that it's all connected, that it's all in one place, and that we are all connected. Because what he finds out, spoiler alert, is that the they is actually humans from the future, trying to help out the humans of the past. And how connected they all are in this universal space. But he wasn't able to hear any of that or recognize it until he was in this center place, that place of quiet and of total peace and of really nothingness, because we're in the middle of a black hole. So that center spot, that silence, that's what that path of palms is taking us to. The word palm means love center in our consciousness. It's that peaceful place. It's that soft place. And in that soft place, all we have is the breath, that energy, that peace of silence. And it's in this place that we find that light of God. We find our own temple. We find how much we are all connected. Wherever we are, God is. So back to our daily word, if we take the inspiration from Jesus' example in this Palm Sunday moment, and we embrace that Christ nature of going in, even though we know on the other side of that path, there's a swirling vortex of people that aren't quite lining up with who we know we are. We are guided by that divine presence within, and we follow the path to spiritual freedom. And in that spiritual freedom, we allow others to do the same, opening up that they is all of us connected through time and space, being able to really work together and affect each other in ways that are miracles. Amen.